Alright, so this week we're taking a look at Popcorn, which has got a stupid name, but I've kind of been looking forward to seeing it. Let's have a look. Popcorn, also known as Phantom of the Cinema, is an American comedy horror film directed by Mark Herrier in 1991. Herrier played Billy in the Porky's films, and this is his only feature film as a director. So the film begins with some masks in water and a jazzy title. We then cut over to a girl called Maggie, who's having a bad dream in which a man shouts Sarah. And someone is holding a knife. She wakes up to her alarm and records her dream into a tape recorder. Apparently this is a recurring dream. Downstairs the phone rings, Maggie's mum Suzanne answers, and a voice says something about the ninth circle of hell.
Remember who the ninth circle of hell is reserved for.
Maggie comes down, and we learn she's an aspiring filmmaker, and is using her dreams as a film basis. After a rocking soundtrack, Maggie's at school. We meet with her potential boyfriend Mark, who wants to sleep with Maggie, but she won't until the script's finished. We then jump over to a film club. They say they've lost their usual space, but they have an idea on how to make the school care about them again. They plan to renovate an old theatre and play B-movies with gimmicks for the students. They go and check out the theatre, and a guy who runs a movie memorabilia shop says he'll help them out. We get a pretty bad montage of them doing up the theatre, and afterwards they find an old film reel called The Possessor, which is in the bottom of a box with a warning printed on it. So they decide to give it a run. It looks like your stereotypical piss take of an art house movie, but Maggie starts connecting the film with her dream and faints. She wakes up and learns that the film was made by Lanyard Gates, who was the leader of a film cult in the 60s, and the film was a response to bad publicity, and the last scene was the live murder of his family. Maggie goes home and scares her mum.
Mom? You scared me.
And asks about Gates. Suzanne acts all weird and wants Maggie to take some time off. The phone rings again, and it's that voice, this time saying he wants to meet with Suzanne, so she goes all alone to the theatre. She brings a gun though, but some trippy stuff happens, and inside she sees Gates, which is also one of the shots from Maggie's dream. A guy is moving around and Suzanne shoots, but she gets grabbed. And then we get to look at this. We then jump straight into Night at the Festival. The turnout seems good, and it actually all looks really decent. I'd love to go to something like this. Maggie's on the door and Mark appears with another date. Ooh. The first film's beginning, and it's called The Mosquito 3D, which is like a giant monster movie takeoff. Maggie goes to see Toby, one of the film club guys, as she thinks she saw Gates at the box office. She wants to find him and make a movie about him, so Toby decides to go looking for him with her, but gets locked outside. Mark has left the film and meets with Maggie while some other big guy takes his place. The gimmick for this film is a giant mosquito model on a string coming out, and it seems to be working a treat, but a mysterious man has a remote control and turns the mosquito around to stab Mr. Davis, the teacher. The killer then takes the body of Mr. Davis and makes a mould of his face. Meanwhile, Maggie tells Mark about Gates, and she thinks that she's Gates' daughter, Sarah. The next film is starting. This one's called The Electrified Man, taking off the experiment gone wrong sci-fi horror genre. Maggie goes back to the ticket stand and Mark goes back to the movie, but the big dude ain't moving and punches Mark in the face. A guy called Bud is getting the gimmick ready for this film, which is electrifying some of the audience's chairs, and oh, no way, it's Bruce Glover. I'm a huge Crispin Glover fan, and I've only ever seen his dad act in It's Fine, Everything Is Fine, so I was really looking forward to this film, mainly to see him in it, and he does a decent job. Very fun to watch. Anyway, Gates communicates with Maggie through a tape recorder, but she accidentally breaks it when she opens a door on Mark.
Mark! Sorry! What are you doing here?
Meanwhile, Tina, another of the film club students, goes round the back to see the killer in a Mr. Davis mask hoisting up the mosquito, and he beckons her over. Bud is preparing the electricity, and as Bruce Glover gets electrocuted, he zaps people, and he seems to really enjoy it. Tina wants to have sex with Mr. Davis, and they kiss, but he bites off her tongue and then rips off his mask. No way, there's the menu image. I cannot believe that was Bruce Glover all along, that's incredible. So Maggie and Mark are snooping around, and they get locked out while the killer is hooking Bud up to the electrical board. We get some funny heckling.
Kiss me, Dick!
Kiss your what?
And Maggie and Mark are back. They go up to see Bud, but it's too late and he gets electrocuted. Love the effect. This blows the power though, and the killer confronts Maggie calling her Sarah. She freaks out and runs. She bumps into Toby and says that she remembers now that Gates is her father and her mum was killed, but her aunt, who is now her mum, saved her, shot Gates and burnt down the theatre. Her and Toby go into the basement to switch on the lights, but they get attacked by the killer. The lights come back on, and here we see the killer trying on different faces and doing impressions. It's quite funny.
You might say,
I'm multi-identical.
And as you've heard, with the help of electronic voice harmonics,
I become Tina, the class bimbo.
I can look like anybody I want to.
It's revealed that the killer is actually Toby, who was the son of one of the cult members, and the burning down of the theatre disfigured him. He plans to recreate the Possessor showing, along with the killings, hoping that it will undo all the damage to him and his family. Mark's date Joy has a spat with Mark, and the big guy gets involved again, but a girl punches him and they kick him out. Back to Toby, and he has Suzanne in a cast. He plans to sacrifice her as well. Meanwhile, the last film The Stench is playing, with the gimmick being bad smells pumped into the theatre. Toby kills one of the guys by gassing him in a bathroom, and he goes to kill the girl, but thinking that it was the previous guy, she admits to fancying Toby, so he leaves in a huff. Toby drugs Maggie and starts to play the Possessor. The audience boo until they all appear on stage. Toby plays it up for the audience, asking if they want him to kill the girl, and the audience all think it's an act and cheer. Mark appears and ziplines down. Toby freaks out, but the mosquito swings in and kills him. The police arrive, Mark and Maggie kiss, and the film ends. Okay then, so what did I think? I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was paced well, the comedy was okay, as was the gore and the acting, and to be honest, I didn't guess the twist in this one. There were two parts to this film I thought really sold it to me. The acting of Toby. It was so fun to watch, like a Jim Carrey character.
Lanyard Gates began Possessor at midnight, and we will follow in his footsteps. Wait, I forgot the other member of the original cast.
And also the B movies themselves. You can tell they were made by film fans and are really spot on to what they were spoofing. Now for the release, and you know what, it's good. Clear print, both visuals and audio, with barely any issues. They didn't put the logo in though, that didn't last long. But we do get the menu again with Bruce Glover on it. Again, no special features. I think it's safe to say that the days of special features are over. But then again, with the Dead of Night release, it's hard to say really. Now for the case. It's spelling error free, but I don't think it quite gets the mover. The killings weren't inspired by the B movies, they were based on a cult's ritual, and he isn't looking for stars, he already has them, he's just killing other people. For some reason. I guess that's a bit of a flaw. The runtime's spot on again, and again it's a 15, and fair enough, it wasn't overly gruesome or disturbing or anything. Overall, I had a lot of fun with this. You can tell it was made by film fans, and for once the print was okay. If you're looking for a silly yet entertaining horror comedy, you could do much worse than this. I'd recommend both the film and the release.